Hello everybody, my name is Joe Gorup, CEO of Course Avenue, and we're here for a quick run through of some pretty amazing technology. Now first I'm just going to dive right into it. This is not a polished demo and this certainly isn't a training session. I'm just trying to convey some pretty interesting information with respect to building online education. So diving right in, what you see in front of me may look familiar to some of you, right? It's dense federal regulations. In this case, it happens to come from the Federal Aviation Administration with respect to safety management systems. Now, I'm not going to drag you through this whole thing. If you want a headache, migraine, etc., feel free to proceed down this road. The question at hand, and these kinds of things underlie just about every industry in the world, from petroleum to pharmaceuticals to Medicare, Medicaid to flight. And in this case, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at what we can do and like, how do I deal with this? And fundamentally, the question we're trying to address is, how do I go from this, something basically almost not understandable, to this? What is this? This is a self-paced e-learning course where I could send this basically to anyone. If you're in the aviation world, you'll really appreciate this. If you're not, well, you'll probably learn something as well. And what is this that I'm talking about? Again, I'm not going to drag you through the entire course, but we do have an entire course. I'm just going to jump into a given page here. Let's look at the page 1. It's, hey, who's required to implement SMS? Again, would you rather read this, a bullet list with things that have, for example, glossary terms, or would you want to try to pull this information out of the PDF file, which would not be fun? Again, the rest of the whole course, there's like a complete, every one of these elements that I'm looking at here are complete lessons. So lessons have pages, or sections. Sections have lessons, lessons have pages. There's knowledge checks after every section. So we told you about these things. Let's check and see how you're doing. There's actually a final exam. And if you pass it, you get a certificate. If you don't pass it, you can try again. And of course, a course survey just to wrap everything up. So this is what we call a complete course, right? It's from introduction about this concept to a complete fine-grained, broken down, instructionally sound piece of education that, again, you could give to anybody. In this case, the target audience is anyone interested in what the FAA and SMS is all about. And with that, let me now show you kind of how we got from here to the course. And I'm going to probably turn off this camera so I can actually demo and type and do those kind of things here in a second. But that's where we're going to go, is how do I move from dense federal regulations to an accessible online e-learning course? Let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to start pretty much kind of at the end. What you're looking at here is gov.education. It's our site to prove out the fact that, yes, we can go from densely packed PDF into a full-blown e-learning course. So much so that we've productized it and have, I think last count, it was like 897 or 882 courses available. And just to pick up from where we left off with the SMS course, if I do a search on SMS, I can see the FAA course is $129. And we already kind of walked through this a little bit, but here's the overview of the course. Here's the learning objectives. Again, these are in the course. So again, there's 800 of these. And the concept is we take the PDFs, run them through a process to create a course outline. Give me the learning objectives, the course overview, and then break down all the content into a structure. Section 1, lesson 1, all those kind of things. And then after we have the course outline, we go through another process where we actually attach and create the learning content. So PDF, course outline to learning content, and then a fascinating part of all this, once we have the learning content, and if there's one thing I really want to stress in this video is, while we are creating these courses that look like this, here is how we manage and edit those and maintain those. And so what you're looking at is literally like the back office of gov.education. Right now there's 860 rows, and they're all organized by quarter when the documents were put out by the U.S. government in this case. And let me take a look and find the SMS course so I can do a search, and it actually found FDA classification because it mentions microorganisms, so you have the SMS at the end. But anyway, here's the SMS course, and if we click on the little pen icon, it brings up the studio editor. And I'm not going to walk you through this. This isn't a training course, but all those glossary terms I mentioned, well, they're all right here. And if you want to, or you don't like these or want to change these, certainly you're free to come in here and click on the edit button, and you can hit the add button and those kind of things. When it comes to any given page, here's one of the pages, the entities require page. Again, this is just if I go into edit mode, It's simply text. This is basically the same editor that WordPress uses. So if you can use WordPress, you can basically edit the content. It is numbered lists and headings and all that kind of stuff, but it's a very well organized, easy way to maintain content. Now, if you're watching this, you'll probably be wondering, like, well, wait, I want interactivity, right? Everyone always wants interactivity. Well, these generated courses, again, the main goal is just to get the content that's actually readable. And our dream here is we work with domain experts that do have the expertise, that do have the ability to want to modify these and make these more than just an organized text structure. Now, we're going to come back to that here in a minute. But just as a real quick, I want to put a video in. Okay, fine. Just tell me we have media on the right. I'll move this up to the top. And maybe I want maybe I want to use an interaction. So I want to drag and drop something. I want flip cards. You pretty much name it and you can do it. Accordion text. And then you can actually have it where, hey, you can do this drag and drop and you can't go on the course until you've dragged all the right things to the right spots. So a whole wide range of things here. And the key is there's no programming involved. If you can kind of use PowerPoint, you can add our animations and interactions to your heart's content. And for those of you that really want to go deep, not to get too technical, but there's a CourseAvenue API. So you can actually programmatically speak to CourseAvenue. And we actually have had people take other people's software, like a storyline. I want to create this cool interaction over here because my buddy knows that. Fine. You can actually embed entire projects within a CourseAvenue media library and launch those right in the context of this course. So we do all the heavy lifting, all the hard work to get all that raw content in. And as to your heart's content, if you want to add interactivity and so forth, you're free to do so. For those of you who don't really care about that so much, again, it's just simply maintaining the text. And I'm not going to go through all these different options, but we've been in the business a long time. We just put a press release announcing that the USDA last year published 31,000 pages of content, 31,767, I believe, pages of content. So we're doing something right because people can use this product to create all kinds of online education. And we really believe that going from document to course, as I've shown you here, is pretty amazing. Now I'm going to step into the second part of this demo, which is more amazing. Amazinger. It's more amazing because this is what we call a baseline course. As I mentioned, the audience for this particular course is someone interested in what the heck the FAA is doing with respect to SMS. But we know that's not enough. So now I'm going to step into another part of the product that's coming in. We're actually laying down the groundwork. And we're going to go to the CourseAvenue lab and take a look at the real CourseAdvisor, which takes things up quite a few notches. So let me step over to that page real quick and we'll be right back. Okay, we're in the CourseAvenue lab. This piece of the lab is actually being integrated into the overall CourseAvenue Studio product, which I briefly showed a second ago. I said this is even more amazing because it truly is. So let me go and explain what's happening here. What we realize is the baseline course, like all the 800 and whatever ones we have, are great. They take you from no knowledge to some knowledge. But we know that it doesn't end there because, well, let me just walk through it. So what I've done is I've taken the SKU number, the SKU from our course, right? I go here, type in this SKU number, and what this does is it kind of reaches into our database, grabs the underlying content. So it's all here. I'm not going to scroll through this whole thing, but it's all there, trust me. And then I said, hey, as a part of kind of automating this process for lots of different people, we said, well, one thing we always want to do when we're working with these documents is to see, is this content that you're providing? So imagine, insert yourself here, and you drag and drop your PDF file or your presentation or whatever you have as source materials, and you drag and drop it in here. What we do is we first check for content readiness. That's kind of like, hey, is this thing worthy of a course? And it may or may not be. And in this case, of course, it is because it's it's a final rule and all those kind of things. And what's it's interesting, is that this is what comes out. Here's our internal instructional systems design persona. We call her Lucy. This is what Lucy actually thought of the document. It explains it. It talks about what type it is. And it talks about, hey, this is the keywords and the major themes that we have in there. The next option we have is like, hey, do I want to create a baseline awareness level course? Again, we already did that, so we're not going to do that. And this is where the differentiator happens. When I click this run analysis, what Lucy does is runs through the document, and this takes a heck of a lot of engineering. But what we said was, show me the topics available, right? I just don't want an overview course. I want to double click on something. So you can think of building an entire training curriculum around this. So what we're saying is like, hey, one topic that Lucy found was SMS fundamentals in aviation. So this actually dives down deeper, this topic. It's not about the document, it's about this particular topic. And then he said, well, within that, we also know that the education is better if it's targeted to a specific audience, right? Your terminology is going to be tweaked, your orientation is going to be tweaked, and you may pick up on different things because they mean different things to different people. So Lucy came up with a concept of, hey, operators and managers may have, we could take this topic and build a course for these folks, or state and federal aviation staff, or aviation safety consultants. And to take it one more notch, we know that any given person, any given safety consultant, if it's a manager, maybe they just want an overview. Like, well, I want an awareness level course, but I want it on this topic for me. Or I could take it all the way to what's called a Bloom's Level 4, which when you're done with this course is going to be much more detailed. The questions are going to be much more insightful. You're going to be asked to compare and contrast and understand. And in the application, same thing, much more detailed than an overview course. But again, this is one topic. Another topic, scalability and adaptation for small and diverse aviation organizations. So it's fascinating to me every time I do this, right? Our product picked out this, and from what little I know about aviation and SMSs, that like this would be a thing. Chicago O'Hare is a little bit different than our local little landing strip here down in Arkansas. And again, I can take these folks, this topic, target these particular people, and then have different levels of understanding that they may or may not need. Hazard, and these are all generatable. Now, the real point is, these check boxes here are, if I were to check one, let me pick legal staff. I want to create a course for the lawyers. When I do, if I check all these boxes, it'll take a long time. But what happens, these are telling me create these course outlines. So in this case, we said create these course outlines, and I only picked one for brevity's sake. Now this does take a little bit, so I may cut the video. It may take about 3 minutes, but I am here in. So please use a Southern. I give it a little nudge, a hint. This is largely for fun because we like to kind of test our software. We can put all kinds of nudges in here. We could tell it all kinds of things. This is a fun one because you see it directly right here. The overview should have, if I'm doing it right, should have some specifics about a Southern draw, if you will. So I'm going to let this run for a second. I may cut the video and come back, but let it do its thing. While it's doing it, I've been in the business about 15, 20 years, and if you gave that PDF to an instructional design team, or person, let's say, or team, and said, create me 8 courses targeting specific audiences, targeting certain learning, certain Bloom's levels of education and understanding, to create one course, I estimate between 3 to 4 weeks just to get the course outline, another month to actually populate that icon, and if I'm aggressive, I'm saying about 3 months of effort to get a draft course working. And, well, I didn't even cut the video here because it worked so fast. Sure thing. Here's the overview. And because it listened to me, it listened to my nudge, y'all, this course is going to walk you through the SMS system. We'll make sure your regulatory books, your organization stay on the right side of the law. So this is a custom course for this on this topic for this particular audience. I think we said lawyers, right? And it's not that huge. It doesn't, but again, this is the first step. Now we've taken the instructional design, we have an outline, and as I mentioned earlier, if I were to the next step is to press the next button. I'm not going to do that here, and put it basically flush out all the learning content and make that available in CourseAdvisor Studio. But I hope the real point here is that I can go from now, just from a document, create the baseline course. Who do I want to what topics do I want to educate people on? Who are the target audiences? Click a bunch of boxes, hit the submit button, grab a coffee, come back, and you'll probably have 10 courses an entire curriculum available for full edit mode, again, in a matter of minutes. That you couldn't create 20 courses in this manually. I would argue that it could not be done by human folks sitting down in the whiteboard trying to organize all these courses. And with that, we have to drive down the cost and really enable people to focus on the actual learning content, right? You can tweak what we take, tweak it, change it, update it, augment it, make it interactive, put your videos, your photos, and all anything you want in there, which is really the value add, right? And making it that personal, where as opposed to all the time spent on the front end trying to do the instructional design, you can actually focus on making the content just that much better and serving a heck of a lot more people much quicker. So with that, that's Lucy. That's the whole shooting match from PDF in the federal sense to a self-paced e-learning course, priced and available for purchase by anybody. All for now. Take care. Bye-bye.